give me your best impression of an A-10 Warthog.
Just slowly. I mean, he has a missile over his head real quick.
That's true.
Yeah.
I do have a missile over my head. And welcome back to Vegas Veteran Voices, the podcast where we do things a little bit differently by talking to vets who do unique things for either passion, purpose, or therapy. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. We're here at the Pueblo Weisbrod Aviation Museum here in Pueblo, Colorado. Ronnie, you got to take a little bit of a tour of the museum before we got our first guest on. Why don't you tell me a little bit about the museum?
Well, first off, it's the biggest aviation museum in Colorado, right? Pueblo, Colorado turned out to be like the Hall of Heroes things. They got like 4 Medal of Honor recipients that are memorialized here. We'll show you guys that a little bit later. But this museum specifically has things from, I believe, all the way from World War I to modern day history. So that's pretty fantastic when you get this. 85,000 square feet. They just had a new addition added here, an A-10. So if you guys know what that is, it's a Warthog. Anyone who's ever had to call one up knows when they show up. And then the people who actually work here they're all volunteers.
They're all volunteers.
All volunteers. They're all veterans. And a few of them have some interesting stories that we're going to talk about. So it's
Yeah.
going to be exciting.
I think there's Navy in the house, Army, Air Force, Marines.
I'm the only Marine here. We'll see.
Yeah, there's also a B-52 pilot. He has a pretty interesting story. I hope we get to talk to him.
I know. Apparently, there's some pirates involved. I'm excited. Every time I deal with pirates.
Yeah, before we get rolling with that, we're going to give you guys a brief tour. Let's dive into it.
They led an executed Desert Storm. It's a little over $87,000 to have a company.
All right. I am actually here with
Mike Sumida.
Mike Sumida. How you doing, Mike?
Doing well.
Doing well. Awesome. Well, why don't you tell everyone where we're at and how'd you end up here?
Well, I'm a docent here at the Pueblo Weisbrod Aircraft Museum. And I was in the Air Force 30 years and aircraft museum, so I love being here and volunteering every week and talking to people about the aircraft.
Yeah, is it a pretty busy museum most of the time?
We get 12 to 15,000 people a year.
Nice.
So that's a little over 1,000 a month.
1,000 a month. Okay.
And we have up and down days, but
like all places.
Yeah.
Yeah, not all places are Disneyland. Yeah, that's good. It's good. All right. So, are you from Colorado originally?
No. My dad was in the Air Force, so I was born at an Air Force base in California.
Okay.
And of course, in the military, you move around a lot. So I've been all over the world as a kid.
Gotcha.
Graduated from a high school at an Air Force base, went to the Air Force Academy, served 30 years. So
nice. Okay. You love working here?
I do.
All right.
Yeah.
You said you had a story about veterans specifically. The very first story about veterans that you had? What was it?
I really want to tell this story. It's about a reunion. It could be a high school reunion, college reunion. It could be a company banquet or something. People sitting down, talking, and at reunions, a lot of the kids will talk about, wow, we were really close, really got to know each other and love each other. And one says, yeah, I agree with that. I would give the shirt off my back to anyone. And another says, yep, I've got your back. Another says, I've got your 6. And they look at Mary and they go, oh, what you do, Mary, for us? He says, well, after high school, I joined the military and I served a couple of years in Afghanistan and Iraq. And what would I do for you? I would die for you. And if I don't die, I might sacrifice my health for you. It could be an arm or a leg. And if I don't sacrifice my health and I get out okay, I might sacrifice my mental health for you. And I might spend every day of the rest of my life struggling to not become one of the 20 veterans that commit suicide every day. That's what I would do for you. I love veterans.
I understand that so much. Actually, we're working on a project we can't talk about right now, but it has to do with that very much so. Like,
I never wanted to go to a high school reunion. I never wanted to go to like some kind of reunion. I have a hard time saying go to a family reunion sometimes. There's always a whole different reason for that. But when after about 8 years, about 10 years. After about 10 years, I finally decided I was going to go see my unit for our reunion, and it was like we had not left each other at all. The amount of bonding that we actually had with one another, and the amount that we actually missed each other, I realized is like that was really my family. You know what I mean? And what I would do to be around them was because being around them, I felt safer than I did outside. And it's different. It's a way different kind of connection than you would have in other situations.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah. All right. So I heard that there is another story that you have for us.
I do. It's a Vietnam vet story. And whenever I see a Vietnam vet, I tell them this story. So in Vietnam, the war ended in January of 1973.
Yes.
They signed the Paris Peace Accords, the Vietnam Treaty, and we left. We left Vietnam. So that was January 73. 18 years later, we fought Desert Storm, 91. 18 years. So, how many years does it take to make general? Or if you even make it, it's going to be in the 24 plus year point.
It's about that, yeah.
If you even make it. How about colonel? To make colonel, it's going to be a little over 20 years. You know, if you're going to even make colonel. How about lieutenant colonel? Well, you pin on lieutenant colonel at about the 16-year point. In the Air Force, squadron commanders are lieutenant colonels, but they don't pick a newly pinned on lieutenant colonel to be a flying squadron commander. They watch them, you season a couple of years, and you usually get one shot to be a flying squadron commander, and there's usually 2 or 3 that are top candidates. So you're going to make squadron commander maybe about the 18-year point.
Okay.
What about enlisted? I said 18 years from the end of the Vietnam War to Desert Storm. So 18 years, is enlisted. What rank are you? You're probably an E7 through E9 at that point.
That's fair. No
So-
NJPs, but yeah.
So I asked people, what was the reputation of the military in January 73? Rock bottom.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
How about 1991, led by Colin Powell, General Schwarzkopf, who were the generals that led Desert Storm? I would say that respect for the military had risen up to the top. In fact, there were polls that ranked the military, as you might expect, the poll of most respected government organizations. The Supreme Court in that time came in second.
Wow. I didn't know that.
The military came in first. Colin Powell, Schwarzkopf, Desert Storm, 100-hour war. So I asked people, how many of the generals in Desert Storm were Vietnam veterans?
Oh.
All of them.
Yeah.
All of them. You don't even make general till maybe around 24 years. That was 18 years after Vietnam. So how many generals were Vietnam vets? All of them.
Every single one of them that have to be.
How many colonels were Vietnam veterans in Desert Storm?
Every one of them.
All of them. How many enlisted with more than 18 years service were Vietnam vets?
All of them.
All of them. Your master chiefs, your master sergeants, and all of them. And your flying squadron commanders, your lieutenant colonels. How many of those flying squadrons are Vietnam vets?
All of them.
Probably most all of them, because they're not picking a just pinned on lieutenant colonel
Like you said, yeah.
to take a unit into the war. So who fought Desert Storm?
Vietnam vets.
You bet. And everyone under 18 years, who were they mentored by?
Vietnam vets.
And people don't think about that. They think of Vietnam vets as you fought that war back in the 70s. They led and executed Desert Storm. So when you see a Desert Storm vet, you're looking at probably a Vietnam War veteran. And that's how I like to see the Vietnam War vets. And I hope they all embrace that thought. They should be proud, and they brought respect back to the military.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, especially staying in after Vietnam, after all the hate that was going on, then deciding to stay in for another almost 20 years to go right back in. That shows a lot of dedication, a lot of love for your own country.
It does. It does.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's great. I never thought about that. That is, wow.
So I love people they see a Vietnam vet, they think about a Vietnam vet. You guys and girls fought and won Desert Storm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's a good way to look at it. I'm probably going to keep looking at it that way when I see a Vietnam vet. Yeah, because if you would have stayed in for that long, man, go all the way up into where the military is being respected again in the early 90s. Yeah,
yep.
That's wild. That's a good way to look at that.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's good with them. Now, your own personal history. I heard that there was a mission that you were a part of that was pretty interesting to talk about. Want to get into that?
When I first entered the Air Force, I flew in Air Force Special Operations.
Yes.
The plane I flew in was designed to do covert and clandestine infiltration of countries.
Nice. Okay.
And it was a highly modified aircraft. We had train following radar, infrared, air refueling, electronic countermeasures. It was designed to get in and out of a country low level, in the dark, through mountains, for special operations. And one of the missions I was picked to fly in was the Iranian hostage rescue mission.
Oh.
So I've spent, several hours getting in and out of the country and a couple hours on the ground on that mission.
Nice. And how did it turn? How did you end up on that one?
Well, I, just through luck, was assigned to Air Force Special Operations and flew well there. And in 2 years, I became the top navigator in the unit. And when they went to pick people to fly in that mission, I got picked to fly in that.
Got picked right away. Okay, gotcha. And did that mission go off without a hitch?
No. A helicopter collided with a 130 on the ground, killed 5 of my flying mates, 3 Marines died in that. We had to abort that mission because of that accident.
I'm sorry. Yeah. After that, the hostage situation, how was it resolved?
Well, President Reagan won the election in 1980, and the day of the inauguration, the very day, Iran said, "We're giving back your hostages," and they returned 52 remaining hostages that were there. So that resolved that.
I wonder, because I know with us, when we had the extraction of Afghanistan later on, because I was staying in Afghanistan, and then all of a sudden we pulled out everybody. That kind of hurt, like all the stuff that we actually did. Like, think about the combat that we went through, and then all of a sudden we're just pulling out everything. Was it kind of similar in that case? Because you're like, what was the point of the mission in the first place? Once we had to wait for Ronald Reagan to get elected.
Well, if it hadn't been for that accident, we would have continued on, and people debate whether it would have worked and or not.
Yeah, you never know until you're there.
Yeah.
I know that one. Gotcha.
But there's a lot of talk about the politics of the mission, like should we have even done it, or could it have succeeded or not? And the message I like to tell the hostages and the people there has nothing to do with all those politics. What I like to tell them is, I want you to know, you 52 people, there were hundreds of Americans that were willing to die to rescue you, and 8 did. They were worth it. They were worth risking death for. And like I said, 8 did die on that mission. And by the way, I think any American. We have hostages. I think the military, politics aside, if you want us to go in and try to get them, we'll get them.
Yeah, we're ground guys.
Yeah.
We don't care about what's going on up on top. We just know that we're going in there.
We'll just execute the mission. And, oh, by the way, if there's a chance of dying.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I signed that paper in the first place. It's like, yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. So, do you have any advice, any leadership advice exactly for someone kind of going into a leadership position? Like, what your advice, what kind of wisdom can you pass down to them?
Well, my advice applies to leadership in general. I worked for Lockheed Martin several years. I was chief engineer of a missile defense program. And so in later in my life, I've mainly been in management. But the number one thing I, if asked about leadership, the first one is, we've heard it. Do unto others as others will do unto you. Treat people how you would want to be treated. Mm-hmm. Period. So what are some of the things that you do when you treat people like you would like to be treated? Well, you're the boss, but I believe in participative management leadership. Yeah. Involve them, because isn't that how you would like to be treated? Have a voice? And oh, by the way, you get a lot of people thinking about something, and you'd be amazed the ideas they come up with. You know, that I know personally. Wow, I never thought of that. However, you're participative. You get the input, but the bottom line is you're the boss. You make the final decision, but you've done it in a participative way. I'm a process person, so there are some key processes that you should learn and doing. Decision making, there's a process for that, a lot of processes. Analyzing plans, planning, that type of thing. But do unto others as others will do unto you. I don't know why I remember this, but it's a really simple type of thing. So I'm in this walled city. Yeah. And we're Air Force. We're kind of the kinder, gentler service.
Kinder, gentler.
You know, and the Army had decided while I was there in 2004, the Army said, you know, the Air Force people, they can wear civilian clothes in their walled city. Who's going to see us? Just us. There's a wall totally around where we're living. And so we could wear civilian clothes. And then they said, well, the Army doesn't get to, so you don't get to either. And we'll give you a few weeks to transition and do that. Well, the people who were already there, they brought the clothing they had. But I remember I was walking to get lunch, and there's a lady. And I was walking in our pea gravel line city, and she had a 7-Up t-shirt on. And the 7-Up t-shirt says, up yours. 7-Up, up yours. And I walked by, and I'm the wing commander. I'm over all 1,600 of these people. And how would you react to that?
I would laugh uncontrollably.
Yeah. And you can imagine how might some others react to that.
Oh, there's definitely some people with a stick up their ass. They'd probably be like, oh. So.
I walked by, and I walked next to her, and she goes, wow, I'm walking next to the wing commander. I said, great t-shirt. I love that t-shirt.
Oh my gosh.
Had 7-Up and up yours. And when we're walking, I go, we changed our requirement. And there's some people like first sergeants.
Oh, first sergeants.
The reputation of first sergeants. They might not react like I do.
No.
I go, I love that t-shirt, but here's what I recommend. I recommend you go to the bathroom, turn your shirt inside out, and you can wear it the rest of the day here. Mm-hmm. And because that's how I would like to be treated.
Yeah.
Not put in a brace, get your chin in, and get chewed out.
Yeah.
Now, there are other people who would go, "Oh, Mike, you're just one of the reasons why the military is going downhill." Well, I don't know, but we did some amazing things. I'll give you an example. People publicize the fully mission capable rates of our aircraft, and say, "Look at them; they're terrible." If you can get 70% mission capable,
That's good.
you're doing pretty good.
It's like when as long as the helicopter's leaking, we know it has fuel or it has hydraulics fluid. We're good.
Helicopters, if they hit 70%, that's a miracle.
Yeah, exactly. Can it lift? We're good.
So I've got a bunch of these aircraft based on a Boeing 707 that came out in the mid-50s called a KC-135.
Okay.
All right? And I've got a bunch of them. And for several weeks, I have to report every day the mission capable rate of all our aircraft. And for several weeks, we were running 100% mission capable on these KC-135 based on a Boeing 707. And, I get an email from the general from Central Command. He goes, "Mike, what on earth are you doing out there?" Nobody gets 100% fully mission capable on aircraft that old. I go, "Let me tell you, when it comes to combat, people are really motivated."
Yeah.
Now, I don't know, maybe I've motivated them because how I commanded. Maybe not. Maybe a type A personality might have gone months with 100% mission capable. But I got to think that I treated the people like I would want to be treated. A lot of just helping them get motivated, do their job, and concentrate on that. And I think that I'm hoping my style resulted in that type of performance. We never canceled a mission.
That's awesome. Actually, if we had more time, I would totally tell you this story because it's exactly the respect given by higher up makes you want to work harder for them because you actually respect them back, and it makes a big difference in performance and just overall. But I really do appreciate the time. This has actually been one of my favorite conversations I've had so far. Randomly in Colorado, it's pretty good. I like it. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for inviting me to talk to you. I love the opportunity to tell a couple of the stories that were near and dear to my heart.
Fantastic. No, I'm glad we got to share it. A lot of people in Vegas are going to see it. That's going to be good. All right. Well, with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break and move on to our next interview. So Thank you very much, Mike.
Yeah.
All right. We got Fat Man and Little Boy over there. That's always cool.
That's my favorite hangar over there.
It is a nice hangar.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right.
I'd say I worked on 2 of the 3 that are my favorite over there. So.
All right. Any notable mentions in here at all?
Well, this is the first jet fighter in the military.
Right here?
Yes, it's an
Nice.
F-80. And when they flew it, they had nobody trained in it. And so they'd do ground training, they'd put a pilot in it and say, "Okay, now fly it," and they crash a lot. So they ended up cutting one, adding 3 feet to it, and making the T-33 that we have out here.
Very nice.
And it became a 2-seat trainer, very first 2-seat trainer. I dictated that we remove the engines, otherwise these fighters would be counted as towards part of our inventory.
Oh.
And then, here we were supposed to reduce our inventory, and Russia was supposed to reduce their inventory. And we said, well, these aren't even flyable, but they counted. So we have the engines removed out of the jets.
Okay. I was trying to say that one right over there kind of looks very James Bondy.
Yeah. So that MiG there, the one on the left,
Yeah.
that's a MiG-15. It actually is a movie star. That actual plane is in a movie called Steal the Sky with Muriel Hemingway.
Steal the Sky.
Yeah, and you can find it on YouTube. I think it's an hour and 46 minutes. You can watch it. It flies in and out of the credits and then lands. And after that, you can turn the movie off because it's no good.
Nice. So you guys wanted all the cool stuff over here in the second hangar.
Yeah, it's got our newer stuff. So the A-10 there is going to be moved into this hangar in the next couple of weeks.
Oh.
We were going to build a shelter over it, but it was $110,000 to do that. So
Better
we're
just
gonna,
move it in here.
we're going to move some older airplanes out and put that one in here.
All right, thank you, sir. Hello. Okay. All right, so we are here in Hangar 2. What's the first one you want to take a look at?
The first one is this F-15.
This gorgeous
On the
beast.
tail, it's got BT. BT stands for Bitburg. It's a air base in Germany. I was stationed about 50 miles from it. This is the first airplane in the Desert Shield, Desert Storm War to get a MiG kill, January 28, 1991.
Gorgeous.
And the name painted on here is General Bill Looney, goes by Looney Tunes. He was a colonel when he was, his name was on here originally. This airplane flew out of Saudi Arabia and got the very first MiG kill. This airplane ended up in the desert down in Arizona in the mothball, in mothballs. And he came through and toured our museum and said, I'm really impressed with this museum. And so he was promoted to general at the time, was out in Washington, D.C. He pulled some strings with General Davis, and we got his airplane up here, and we finished it and brought it back to life. So
Fantastic.
that's one of my favorites. That's actually his uniform there. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Now, from what I understand, because I was reading something about your A-10, you guys actually take apart the plane, bring it here, and then reassemble it?
Correct.
That you guys do it yourself, or do you have a crew do it?
So the F-16, the F-15, we actually did it. We brought a crew from here. Our restoration team went down and did it. Our team wasn't as adept today as it was back then. And so we hired a company to bring the A-10 here.
Very nice. And that was similar to this one as well? Was this also taken apart and brought?
This was taken apart and put on trucks and brought here, yes.
Nice.
And then we repainted it to its original. It carries 4 AIM-7 missiles. These are radar-guided missiles.
Oh.
The radar sends signal to them, and when they're chasing air-to-air, they launch this, and it'll do the enemy kill. But if the enemy knows that he's being tracked, he can abruptly turn. And so they launch these. These are the AIM-9 heat-seeking missiles, and that tracks the heat-seeking, the heat signature of the exhaust, and it'll turn with the airplane.
Nice.
That would pretty much also be like countered by flares. I think that's where that next.
Yes, and so yes, if he detects through his radar threat warning system that he's being tracked, he can jettison flares or chaff to confuse the radar-guided missile, and the flares to confuse the heat-guided missiles for his protection.
So if you're getting shot at, how do you know which one is coming at you?
Your radar threat warning system will tell you what kind of signal it is, whether it's AAA armory from the ground or a SAM, or it'll tell you, because each missile has a different signature and radar or transmitting capability, and it's all programmed because it's at the factory so that it knows what's coming. So
Okay.
there are antennas all over the airplane to detect these things.
Gorgeous. All right. That is awesome. Look at this one. What's our next?
So the next one is the one I worked on for about half of my career. It's the F-16. I was stationed several bases with it. But during the Desert Shield, Desert Storm War, we deployed 38 of these airplanes out of Han Air Base, Germany, and we went to the United Arab Emirates and flew in the Kuwait Iraqi war. This is an A model, which is early single-seater. The B model is the early version two-seater. Then they did the C and then the D model. I rode in the back seat of a D model out of Turkey, got to fly a mission, and then we went and played out over the Mediterranean and I got to fly the airplane. As an enlisted guy, that isn't very common. So it's really fascinating. It's an interesting airplane. It's a 9G airplane, which means it can turn 9 times the rate of gravity. So if I'm 200 pounds, I weigh 1,800 pounds in that turn.
Well, that's a lot of G-force.
A lot of
Whoa.
G-force. Yeah, your face is drawn down, and you're taught how not to pass out.
How's that process feel?
It's really impressive, and we did several of them, and I finally told them, no, we've got to quit. It's getting a little intense. It has a 20 millimeter gun, and so is the F-15 on that wing. And if you do look down in the cockpit on the right side, you'll see the side stick controller. This is a fly-by-wire aircraft where he doesn't have the stick in between his legs. He flies by wire, and it's just a little joystick. And initially, when this airplane was doing its first test high-speed taxi, that stick never had any motion in it. And so the pilot accidentally touched it with his fingers, and it took off, and that was the first production flight, accidentally. They subsequently built in movement for human feedback. But it's still only about 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch.
So it's super sensitive.
Very sensitive, yes. And fly-by-wire just means that it's flown by electronics rather than mechanical cables and pulleys.
Very nice.
Any other fun toys you want to show us while we're in here?
Yeah,
Certainly
we got one more, right?
The first one I was working on was the F4. We have the nose of one over here. When they sell an F4 or an airplane to a civilian, they won't give you the whole airplane. They'll only sell you part of it. So we have the nose part of it.
That's for you, Joe.
I worked on the weapons control system, which is also known as the radar, provides the guidance and programming for the bombs and missile, and the radar system sits here and the antenna's out here. And so it's fascinating to work on. 2-seater, when you're crawling in and around under a running F4, you know it because it just rumbles and shakes your body. Neat airplane.
Nice. All right.
This one was sold to a private person, and he put a computer in it and used it as a simulator for kids. One of our docents here bought it from him, brought it up here. The computer eventually died, and so he donated it to our museum. He's actually here today. It's the George that you saw over there. He said, I'll donate to this museum with the caveat that you pull the rear ejection seat out and put it in my living room so that I can watch movies with it. And so there's pictures of it in his living room, and that's the picture of the aircraft before it was cut.
That's so cool. Some type of movie night seat.
Yeah, and there it is with the instrument cluster. So,
And how did he fall into possession of this thing?
he saw the guy down there, that decided to sell it, and so he bought it. Had this trailer built and had it brought up here. So
Awesome. Well, those are the three. Is there anything we get to take home with us? You know, as like just
well, I always thought the A4 was a nice private jet for my personal use, but the side-by-side jet trainer is really kind of cool. So you can take your your wife with you, your girlfriend. So.
You know, that's the best way. It doesn't matter what we're eating at that point in time. It's just all about the entrance, right? Entrance and exit.
We have so
Awesome.
much to see in this museum. So
It is a fantastic place. Everyone should, if you're in Pueblo, Colorado, you really got to try this place out.
yeah.
Yeah, you know, I know some ghost hunters that probably would appreciate this. So anyway, awesome. Thank you, Wayne, for your time. This has been a fantastic experience.
Wayne, this place is
Alright.
incredible. You got to show me a few of these different planes. We were talking about the A-10 Warthog a little bit and how that just came here in June. That's crazy. How did you guys get that here?
Well, we contracted a moving company. It was out in Dayton, Ohio,
Mhm.
and it's on loan to us, but we were fortunate enough to acquire it. And so it cost us a little over $87,000 to have a company disassemble it, bring it on 3 trucks, and then reassemble it here. And then I was on the fundraising committee to recoup that, and we have recouped the 87,000.
What kind of events did you guys have to get the fundraising for that?
Well, we went out to different businesses and asked them to be sponsors. We had personal donations, private donations, but mostly businesses. So we didn't really have a fundraiser like a bake sale or anything like
Yeah.
that. And then we had the first Friday in September, we had a big celebration, and we had 2 famous pilots come in and talk. It's really incredible.
That's so cool. And then you said there's another story that we didn't really get to talk about on the tour too much, about what you guys do here on Saturday nights. Why don't you give me a little bit of, tell me a little bit more about it?
Yes, well, the first Saturday of each month, and the last Saturday of each month, and every Saturday in October, we have a ghost tour here, and it's not ghost stories; it's actually a paranormal activity. And our restoration crew would be here, and they would have activity happen, and it really caught them off guard. And so, as we explored that, we realized there was paranormal activity. So we started ghost tours so other people could experience this.
That's so cool. And what time do those happen at?
They're from 8 to 10 on Saturday night, every Saturday in October.
And out of the ghosts that are here, which one do you think is the most active?
I think probably Anne. However, she doesn't really care for men or boys.
Yeah.
So if they're around, there's not much activity. But I have seen pictures that people have taken where they've been blurred and then said, "Hey, Anne, I'm trying to take this picture and it'll be clear." She has actually been in front of the cameras. You can't quite make her out, but most of the time, Anne is probably present most.
That's so cool. And then before we wrap up, what's your favorite aircraft here in the museum?
Probably the F-16. I was fortunate to be able to fly in when I'm enlisted, or I was enlisted. And however, top performers get an incentive flight.
Yes.
And so I was able to fly out of Turkey in the F-16 and pull 9Gs. I have a 9G-10. But it's a fascinating airplane and just so highly impressive. Incredible for a 51-year-old airplane. We're still flying them today and exporting.
Yeah, I got to see them fly when I was in Massawa. It's an incredible experience to just watch those things take off. And we got to see one do the Cobra. I don't know if you've seen that move, where it goes down to the ground and stays level as it glides across.
Yes.
That's air show stuff though. Now, Wayne, tell me a little bit more about your Air Force experience. What was your job in the Air Force?
Well, I spent 20 years and 3 weeks in the retired Air Force. First 8 or 10 years I was on the F4 C and D models, and I did avionics.
Oh, nice.
So it was radar, so it provided all the calculations and everything for the bombs and missiles. Then I was cross-trained into the F-16, and I did avionics, communication, navigation, and electrical countermeasures on the F-16. Eventually I got promoted into superintendent. I was superintendent over 3 squadrons of avionics personnel. Called it quits right at 20 years.
I love it. Being able to retire, that's such an amazing feat. Thank you so much for your service. We appreciate it. Did you find it difficult to transfer platforms halfway through your service?
Not really. They provided technical school,
Okay.
so they cross-trained me, and of course I was already in avionics, so I didn't have to have the basic electronics again, but I just had to have a thorough understanding of the new equipment.
Yeah. And as someone who, at one point in their life, was able to transition out of the Air Force and become a civilian and be called Mr. for the first time, what was that transition like for you? And do you have any advice for someone just going through that right now?
Well, unlike a lot of people where they know the military, they know aircraft, and so they stick with it. I wanted to do something brand new, something a whole different career. So I immediately got out and went to university and got a degree in IT. Totally different career, and made a new career in that. I didn't have any difficulty whatsoever because I had already set a goal.
Mm-hmm. And IT is fairly similar to avionics, kind of, sort of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And it can be. There is IT in the military, and there's IT in newer aircraft. It really wasn't coming up when I was retired. I retired in '92. So
Yeah. I know there's a huge jump for some of the people I served with because they were going from the F-18s to the F-35s, and the platforms are completely different. So making a jump like that is an incredible feat. Anything else you want to tell us about Pueblo before we wrap up?
we moved down here about 2.5 years ago, just to get out of this hustle and bustle of the city. Pueblo is a hidden secret. It is amazing. There's so much to see and do. And when I had some free time, I stumbled onto coming to this museum and found it fascinating and had to be a part of it. So I volunteer here as a docent. There's just so much to beauty, and the people are incredible here. So.
Yeah. Pueblo, Colorado. Come check it out. Come check out the Riverwalk and come check out the museum. Wayne, so thank you so much for coming and talking with us.
Great. Thank you.
Cool. Good.